Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, we're on a geological time bomb, and it seems like it's about ready to get really bad, right? Things are moving that direction. We've been talking about that for several days, well over a week now. So, I think that, pretty much everyone's to a great extent aware of that, at least people that follow this channel. And then those that don't, probably going to be in for a rude awakening, unfortunately. So we're seeing a lot of things happening around the world that leads us to probably a very probable, I would say, geological event in the Cascadia zone, possible super volcano activity in Italy, where we've seen Pompeii basically get destroyed by a volcano in the past, and we've also seen in the Middle East, some problems over there as far as Iran, and President Trump that seems to be keeping things calm as best that he can. Ukraine is getting destroyed massively by Russia. So we're seeing a lot of war, desolation around the world, and it's going to be increasing, unfortunately. That is the rate that things are going. We're also seeing a possibility of another pandemic really starting to come in very, very fast. Now, maybe like last time, that'll like just all the war will stop. And maybe the geological activity will cease. There won't be any hurricanes or volcanoes or tsunamis. So, I mean, maybe, a lot of people will probably die from the next pandemic. If we look at the Deagle report from, that posted that 2025 was going to have only 1/3 of the population left in Europe and in the United States this year. So what is going to cause that? Is going to be a pandemic, wars, or combination of all geological starving, because, that happens when you have a geological turmoil as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how that transpires, or if it does. Someone obviously saw this happening in the future and wrote a report that has been shared quite a bit. If you can find it, it's hard to find that Deagle report, but I have. In the last show that I did, I revealed it. So the numbers are staggering, very staggering. In fact, it's going to be one of those things I believe that will be catastrophic if it does actually happen. So what is happening now? So we're going to see, the stock market, I believe, is really, really close to crashing. This is by design. The best laid plans, of course, are going to try and stop that, but will they be successful? I don't know. We're looking at the same scenario that's happened, time after time, where the Japanese bond market, like right now, is at Lehman Brothers levels. Back in 2008, 2009, that era. So we're seeing the same spike again. We had a spike. I think it was last August 2023, maybe. We had a spike, and stock markets took a big dive. We're seeing the same spike right now, but the stock market has not taken a dive. So will it? Are they resisting it, or is it just like ho hum? It's the same old thing. We're not going to get so excited anymore. Just like President Trump's tariffs. One day we're going to like raise tariffs to 1,000,000%, and the next day it's like, oh, we're going to wait. So I'm exaggerating, of course, but it is getting pretty ridiculous as far as like what seems to be manipulations in the stock market and the bond market. The bond market is, I think I've heard it's 3 times bigger than the stock market, guys. So when you see bonds like this, liquidity in Japanese bond market at the Lehman Brothers level, that's not something to like poo poo about. All right, you go back to 2008, 9, you see the spike right there, and you see the spike back in 2023, I believe it was, and then another spike here. It's not looking good for the Bank of Japan, and they're even saying that we're like Greece right now. That Greece basically collapsed. So Japan seems like it's in the same situation. So when that happens, you'll see the stocks crater. So something is keeping those stocks semi-inflated at this moment. Will they be able to continue that? Remains to be seen. It's not looking too good. Not looking too good for them at all. So let's look at some more of this. The market. Look at Market Watch. Market Watch is not looking so good. Let's see. Market Watch is saying that Nvidia had great, or at least Nvidia saying that they beat more than in earnings than they predicted, but they're downbeat in revenue guidance. So what is that going to do to the stock tomorrow? All right, let's see what the stock is doing right now. Looks like the stock is actually down. So the stock is down just a little bit. Will tomorrow, when they digest this a little bit more, will it be down even more? Today, the stock market was down. Of course, it was up massively yesterday. So a little bit of down today is not that big of a deal. Futures right now are also looking down. Looks like the NASDAQ is actually turned negative. Nope, it's still positive. The Dow is still going down, but I think because of Nvidia, maybe some other stuff, it's actually up a little bit. So crude oil is starting to creep back up. Silver and gold have taken a little bit of a hit. 33, I think 70. If we see 33.70 in the silver, it got close to that today and pulled back 33.58. So if we see silver go back above 33.70, we're probably going to be off to the races. All right. If it goes above and then it stays above that, of course, the 52-week range right now is 35.49. It briefly touched that, I think a month or two ago. And it is looking like, because of if you look at the price of historical price of silver and gold, like silver right now is about 100 to 1 to gold. Normally it's 80, but even really normally it's 50 to 1. So 80 to 1 is puts it up above $40 a share. So if it just gets back to semi-normal, we're going to be looking at $40 silver. And if it gets back to 50, the way it normally is long term, and then longer term, even lower than that, then we're going to see $100, $150 silver. And that's pretty much what everybody's been recommending. I've been recommending that for several years. We're looking at that coming up maybe soon, maybe not. So we can't predict this thing because it's the gyrations of the stock market, the manipulation of the stock market is massive. But at some point, because there's so many problems in the economy, housing is crashing, not massively like it was in 2008, 2009, but very close. If you look at the inventory rates of housing in most markets where it spiked, the inventory rates are usually predictor of coming prices, because there's so many houses on the market that people have to start to drop the housing prices to get them to move. So you're seeing one of the biggest spike ever in housing inventory. So housing inventory is a predictor where the prices are going to go. So you're seeing massive spikes in inventory. And I think in some places, many people would have normally put their houses on the market, but haven't, because they know they're not going to get the money they want. So that's going to be monumental. Yeah, 8 to 1, Jerry. Absolutely. So if we look at the Cascadia flood zone, it is not looking good. So we're probably going to see, I believe, this thing cook off. It's the pressure that's building out there is pretty monumental. Let's look at that. So the number of earthquakes is like something like over 11,000. And that was like a couple of days ago. So it's probably well over 12,000 now, the number of microquakes that are happening out here. And then you're having basically a lot of plate slippage as well. So the plate slippage is basically building up tension. So the plates will do a little micro move, and when you have thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of those micro moves, then eventually that leads to a major move.
Grant, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. It's today, 11:52 a.m. As I mentioned, California time here. Latest activity shows us continued movement here across Northern California. Got decent uptick in earthquake activity out here. A couple of earthquakes in the last hour or so. 2.3 looks to be the latest one here, just off the. A lot of activity across the southern end here, the Cascadia subduction zone. One up north around Eureka. This one about 7 miles deep here from early this.
So what will cause the massive tsunami will be the subduction zone. So one side of the plate massively goes down, and maybe even the other side of the plate goes up, and that causes the water to massively, go down, and then when it comes back up, it creates the tsunami. And then as that energy starts to approach the coast, depending on the gradient of the coast, you'll start to see that pressure build the water up and create the tsunami, the wall of water, and then that'll travel inland. Now, another thing that's a problem, we're going to talk about that right after this, is that there is subduction that can happen in the land when just before tsunami. Subduction meaning the landmass along the coast can actually decrease before the tsunami comes. And there's evidence that is already starting to take place.
As well, a lot of tremor activity has been taking place underneath the Northern California area, the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone, down into the slow slip range. Let me show you guys here real quick. Yesterday's tremor count was still somewhat elevated at 238 epicenters of tremor there underneath the Oregon and Northern California region. Now, to see the extent of all this tremor activity, we've got to go back to the last couple of weeks here. As you can see on the map, this is not surface earthquake activity. It's not even earthquake activity in general. This is just slow slip events that are being recorded. Very low frequency vibrations that happen when the subducting plate and the overlaying plate here move past one another. So we're getting a lot of tremor activity, slow slip events, a lot of movement happening down into the deeper area of the Cascadia, that adding further strain upstream across the lock zone. And Northern California has just been kicking up a lot of earthquake activity here since this ongoing tremor event kicked up here a couple of weeks ago. Been about 24 earthquakes of various magnitudes, including a couple fours up here, 4.6 from 2 days ago, and also 4.1. Number of threes in there as well. As I've always said, though, there's a higher chance of seeing a large earthquake strike out here when we're experiencing these tremor events underneath the area. So just keep an eye there on the Cascadia subduction zone, the southern end here. Could obviously see some larger activity. You just never know, right? You got to watch for these little signs. Elevated tremor resulting in upstream earthquake activity. It's just one of those things that you have to watch and observe. No guarantee we're going to see a big earthquake, but then again, there's no guarantee we're not. You just got to be prepared. Let's see what we got going on here. There's a couple different sunspots, 4099 and 4100, fairly massive in coverage area. Still complex as well. This has not gone away yet. So I'm still keeping my elevated flare threat.
So the like you talked about, the flare threat is elevated. So as the sunspots come into, facing the Earth, if they send off a little energy or a lot of energy, if send off a lot of energy, we're going to see some serious problems. We'll probably see the Cascadia fault because it seems like it's building up. Maybe even see some faults, more faults in Yellowstone kick. I don't think we're going to see Yellowstone cook off yet. I think we'll probably see all along the Cascadia. We'll see earthquakes like Mount Rainier and some of those other volcanoes start to, cook off before we'll see Yellowstone cook off. So they'll get the energy first, and then eventually, if they get really out of hand, then probably see Yellowstone go. Now, if you look over into Italy, if we get serious sunspot activity, we're probably going to see a super volcano go off in Italy, the Naples area. That's been cooking, that's setting up, and if it gets a big energy push, they're going to see that go off. And so the Earth is facing some serious threats, some serious events, and I think we're going to see them. So let's pray that doesn't happen. Hopefully, consciousness can have a sway over this. Increased flood exposure in the Pacific Northwest following earthquake-driven subsidence and sea level rise. So if we get that Cascadia plate, push, it could significantly affect the coastline. And by that, it says that Washington and Northern California, the next great earthquake will likely cause 0.5 to 2 meters of sudden subsidence and associated sea level rise, dramatically expanding coastal floodplains. So if you already have a coastal floodplain where water, if there was like some kind of tsunami or whatever, would come in with the subsidence of the coastline, like they're talking about here, a deformation, you could see this even greater and an even greater impact along the shoreline. Because a lot of people are thinking, if I'm 100 feet up or 200 feet up or 300 or 500, whatever, and I'm miles away from the coastline, I should be safe. Maybe not. If we see a good dip in like they're talking about the floodplain, because when the tsunami comes in, the coastal line usually creates a tsunami. But if you have a subsidence in the coastal plain, then that tsunami is going to go inland further before it starts to rise up. So all that energy that normally would start to expend itself and start to crest up that tsunami will go further inland before it actually gets its peak. So of course that would cause it to go further and maybe even higher. So that's one of the things they're putting out here. So not more things to go. Oh shit, oh shit! It could be a lot worse than what they're talking about, and it's starting to come through. Now, what we're seeing, now I've told you guys to get out of the big cities. The big cities are being taken over. Seattle, obviously, and that could be a good thing if you get out of Seattle, you don't get tsunamied, right? But most people, I think, in big cities don't have the wherewithal to leave, and they're seeing, I think, the destruction of those big cities substantially from what they used to be just a few years back. And here's a great example. This is very tragic. It's like you can't have a normal family in these big cities anymore. And this is an LGBTQ plus mob surrounds a mom with her baby to block her from attending a Christian rally in Seattle. So they don't want this. They don't want families. They don't want God in their cities. And you see this poor woman that's being badgered, who knows what's going to, her children, because you're going to see a lot of children down here too. A couple other little boys that are obviously being traumatized. So it's getting pretty bad in these cities. So at first they're obviously just blocking and arguing. You got what looks like an Antifa guy right here, or maybe even BLM. Most people think that BLM is mostly blacks, but it's not. It's actually mostly whites, because this is part of the takedown of America. So they just use the black community like they've always done for all the way back to the Civil War to infiltrate and cause disharmony within communities and so forth. So you're going to see this start to escalate, I believe, on a massive level. You're going to see probably the populations of Chinese and Ukrainians, and I guess probably cartel, and who knows what, terrorists from Hamas and Hezbollah and so forth, all these other terrorist organizations are going to start to be activated. So that's going to be very tragic for those people, I believe, in those cities. They'll overwhelm the police force. The police force has already been, the money's been taken away from them in these big cities, in these big blue cities, and they've, come after them in a lot of different ways. So you have less of a police force. Their hands are tied, their feet are tied. They have masking tape over their mouths, so they can't move, and they're going to just get run over. And there's no recourse other than calling up the National Guard, and the National Guard is not going to be enough. We saw in Wisconsin where the National Guard came out, but they still burned and killed and looted in Wisconsin on a massive scale. So you see the police are coming in to build a wall and get this parent out of here with her children. But you can see that these guys in masks and helmets and so forth, they're very close to being violent, and that's not a good. If it did turn violent with those kids right around there, guys, it would not be good, obviously. But this is going to come. So yeah, you can hear the LGBT type. They're basically going off with foul language and so forth, and then screaming. I don't know if you caught it. One of the little boys was crying. It's not good. So the police officers came in, and they're not going to help her go to that. They're not going to push through that line and help her get through that. They're just going to get her out of there. And they're probably even told her, you don't have a choice. You can stay here, and I don't know. I would have told them if I was there. You can stay here and be killed, or you can leave with us. Right? Uh, Follow me or die. It's up to you. It's kind of the way I look at some of this stuff. It's going to get really bad in those cities. It's already been bad in those cities. We've seen that with George Floyd riots, horrific destruction and burning and people being killed on a massive level. And I think that there's going to be some places that will be safe zones and some places that will not be. So you're going to have to use your own intuition. There's probably going to be, like I'm talking about, probably going to be earth change events. You're going to have to use your own judgment of where you're at, and where you are going to hold out, and try and survive or whatever. Let's just hope that it doesn't happen. Trump confirms he stopped a major military strike into Iran. So during a press conference, reporter asked, "Did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some action that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?" "Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did," Trump replied. The reporter asked what Trump said to Netanyahu during the phone call. "I just said, I don't think it's appropriate." All right. And you may not get any more money. You may not get any more, supplies from us. So you use your own best judgment. So kind of like me, use your own best judgment of where you want to live. It's up to you. All right. So like I said, there's going to be worldwide geologic activity. We're seeing it in the Swiss Alps. The Swiss village of Blatten has been flattened. All right, so we're going to look at that. It is. I've been basically sharing that was probably coming, and it has happened.
Glacier has just collapsed onto the Swiss town of Blatten, high up in the Swiss Alps. There has been an evacuation order in place for many days now. They airlifted out the cows. All the people left. Well, now the glacier has collapsed onto the town, and Blatten has been flattened. They were originally concerned about the collapse of a mountain slope high above the town, but underneath that mountain slope was the Birch Glacier that also showed signs of destabilizing, and that is exactly what happened today. A huge avalanche of ice, rock, and mud slid down the slopes and now has basically covered the entire village of Blatten. So it's basically wiped off the map, but the mountain slope still has yet to fully destabilize. And so this could get filled up significantly more once that occurs, and that is looking very imminent. So this is a dire situation. Only one person reported missing as of right now. Everyone was evacuated, it seems, except perhaps this one person, but a tremendous amount of damage, homes lost for these people, and this is a developing story. And we have video of that collapse of the Birch Glacier right here. This glacier was supporting 9 million tons of material. And so a lot of that collapsed alongside the glacier, but there is still more material up there, which is now no longer supported by the slopes of that glacier.
Yeah, there's probably going to be more that's going to collapse into that valley where a river runs. And now that river is dammed up. So it'll work around that collapse, of course. It'll build up and it'll work around that, erode it over time. But we're probably going to see an even bigger collapse and an even bigger damming of water, which eventually will come through that. And who knows what that's going to cause downrange, right? Downstream. So it's definitely building up. It's going to be, I think, a very traumatic loss of life, probably downstream. This is going to be one of those biggies for Swiss, probably one of the worst, glacier faults. And of course, the global warmist liars are going to like jump all over this and say, look, it was global warming that caused this. No, I believe it's earthquake activity around the world that's happening that's prying some of these loose.
The Birch Glacier into context with what could happen with the collapse of the mountain flank near it. So here we have the Birch Glacier. You can see it's a large structure. Again, there's a lot of other stuff mixed in there with that landslide that occurred today, that avalanche really. Look at the size of this mountain flank, though. This is the section that is due to collapse at any moment. If we zoom out, you see, though, it is just one part of this mountain range. It's not like the entire mountain is collapsing, but this is still very significant. And here we see the village of Blatten there, really nestled high up in this alpine valley to give you a sense of the overall geography of the area. And if we zoom out even further, we see that this is in the southern part of Switzerland. You see Bern there to the north. This is Italy to the south. And so you have a lot of these little villages nestled up in these alpine valleys. Occur quite frequently on a geologic timescale. And here we have a before and after graphic showing exactly what has happened today, May 28th.
Wow, that's pretty dramatic, right? So imagine a tsunami, right? A tsunami coming along the Pacific coast from Vancouver all the way down to Peru. It will take some time to get to Peru if it erupts, which I believe it will, off the coast of Oregon, California. But it's going to flatten everything just like that, and probably a lot more dramatic. So that's something we need to be aware of. Pray it doesn't happen, but we have to be aware of it, and you have to get yourself situated or ready to move at a moment's notice. And hopefully you have a helicopter because the roads are going to be jammed.
We see the ski slope before there, just on the outskirts of this tiny village. Now you can see how greatly expanded it is. This is a natural geologic process. It's unfortunate that the Swiss village was there in the way, you could say. Now it's gone. Please say your prayers for everyone that's been affected. Some of the town still remains, but with that mountain in the process of actively collapsing at this moment in time, it's likely that this ski slope is going to get much larger and fill in more of the valley. So I will keep you up to date every step of the way. That's what we.
All right. So this is going to continue. We're going to continue to see probably, like we saw in California, directed energy weapon use. Now, one of the things you have to look at is in California, just like we saw in Colorado, where we had all those fires a couple of years ago around Christmas, New Year's timeframe, that there are a lot of smart meters. Smart meters in a home is basically a directed energy weapon in the home. So it basically creates a vortex of energy within the home, and basically that's what has, I believe, because California, all of California right now, has a mandate. I prefer women date, so that's why I left California. So they have mandates in California. You know how they like transgenderism there in California, but mandates in California, I'm just kidding. Mandates are being implemented for not only, you know, your smart meter on your house, but also for LEDs. I remember when I lived in California, I couldn't buy incandescent lights on Amazon, have them shipped to me because California restricted it. So we know that the light spectrum of LEDs causes you to be stupid, right? Causes you to be angry and fearful, which is out of touch with God. And doesn't allow you to tap into your alpha brainwave state, where you have direct contact with intuition when you're in an alpha brainwave state, not in the beta. Beta brainwave state, you're just focused on one little thing. If you're an alpha and beta at the same time, you have a gamma, and you can physically do amazing things like I've demonstrated and talked about for quite some time. But if you're not in that alpha brainwave state, which the LEDs restrict you from doing, and that's why they pushed them, mandated them also in California. Get out of California. Get out, right? There's so many reasons to be out of California right now. I don't have the time to like talk about all of them, right? So if you're in California, God bless you, right? You need it. Because not only do you have chemtrailing still going on there like crazy, but you also have Fukushima radiation still impacting California along the coast and further inland too. All right, so I think that, you know, the mandates for smart meters has destroyed a lot of these homes. That's the thing, that's because they can control that energy that goes into the home then, and they can cause a vortex of energy, and it takes out homes. So if you want to not have the smart meter, then you have to pay for somebody that has to come read it now. You know, in the past, it was like you didn't have smart meter. You got somebody come out and meter read. You didn't have to pay extra for that, but now you do. So they're trying to force everybody into the smart meters. Smart meters are very dangerous. Very dangerous. If you have a smart meter on your home, I recommend you convert it or get out of it. All right. All right, guys. You're just trying to cheer us up. That's right, Kevin. So, and I know you don't need me to cheer you up because you're always cheerful, Kevin. So good for you. All right. And no matter what I say, it's not going to bring you down from being a loving being, right? So you have to be a loving being. You have to be in a high vibrational states, obviously, during this time frame. I don't think a lot of people care, about this information, which we'll see. We'll see if it makes a difference that you were paying attention or you just blew it off, right? Maybe by blowing it off, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to prepare. And if the tsunami comes or the earthquake strikes and the volcano blows up and you just go away. You just vaporize or get drowned or whatever. It's less worry, right? So, all right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and I will see you guys next time.